Chapter 33. Day 2. "How?" she asked with a monotone voice. I didn't answer. How could I speak? Eve's last words were that she hated me. She hated me. That's the last thing she'll ever remember in this cold existence. The last memory she left behind. "I asked you a question." Alice's hand slapped hard across my cheek. "How did you come back?" "I made a deal with him," I hissed, not wishing to speak. "What did you promise him?" She grabbed my jawline, forcing me to stare into her eyes that didn't seem mad nor sad, but rather scared. "I promised him that I would make it more interesting." "Make what more interesting?" She pressed for answers. I swallowed, remembering what happened. My flesh shook like the leaves in autumn that just won't let go of the tree branches, no matter how the wind blows. My breath was quick. I could feel my hands pull against my arms. The town, the people, they watch us. I couldn't help but yelp, despite my attempts not to. "I'm not a character. We aren't a show. This is our lives. Why are you watching this? Why are you watching us fight and die?" "Why did you come back?" Alice asked, nearly ignoring my comment. "Ian was going to kill you two. I couldn't let him. It's my fault that he came that night. If I hadn't told Hal off, or if I had just stopped him when he was at the house, none of this would have happened. I couldn't leave you to die because of my mistake, so that's why I came back. That's why I gave what I did." I sobbed, unable to hold back any longer. "It's not your fault, John. Believe me, won't you? This isn't your fault. None of this is anyone's fault. It's just a situation that drives us mad," she huffed angrily. "What did you give him?" "Why do you know so much about this?" I asked. Alice's face turned pale. Her hand pulled away from my jaw. She turned her back sharply, crossing her arms with annoyance. The Hispanic girl gave a loud yell, turning towards me with a red expression. "Speak nothing of this, okay? Just know that I believe you. And for now, that's all you need to know. Got it?" I nodded slowly. So much is happening that I can't understand. First I made this deal, then Eve is dead, and now Alice is the only person who trusts me. What does she know about this deal? Why does she believe me in the first place? Why is all this happening to me? "Alice, do you know the killer?" The words slipped from my tongue, even with the protest of my mind. She yelped, wide-eyed. "No! Why would you even say that?" "Because you seem to know a lot about this." I sighed with a heavy heart. "That doesn't mean I know the killer. You can't just go around accusing people of that. And besides, didn't I just tell you not to talk about it?" Alice snapped. "I'm sorry." Alice let out a long sigh, pushing the loose strands of her hair from her face. "Listen, Blank," she began, though I'm not the Blank anymore. "I don't know anything about the killer, other than that he was on the news a few times. Besides, if I did know him, I sure the hell wouldn't be here now. The reason I know anything about this is because my first week here, the game maker offered a deal to Brooke. The deal was that if she killed one player within a week of making the deal, then she would be allowed a special clue. To what that was, I don't know exactly, but she agreed. However, when her week was up, and she hadn't killed anyone, her time disappeared." Alice explained regretfully, as if it were a secret that should never see the break of day. "She was gonna kill someone?" I asked, remembering my own. "I know from the stories we told you, Brooke seems like a good leader and friend, but that was just a mask to her selfish nature. I never had the heart to tell anyone what I knew." "Neither Hal or Eve know," Alice added. "Like yours?" "Has it cracked so much?" She laughed, looking up at the midday sun. "Now, I answered your question, so answer mine. What did you give?" She sat against the gravel of the broken home next to me. "Nothing," I lied. I can't tell her that I only have a week left. I can't let her know she's losing someone else. "You're a terrible liar," You realize this, correct? I growled as the lies poured so easily into my mind, in a way that they hadn't in a long time. It's strange. As the blank, the most simple of lies couldn't be told, while as the gamer, they come so naturally. A month. Away? Left, I answered. At least she'll think I have more time than I do. She can't be expecting it, once it comes. I don't want her to think I died because of the game maker. I want her to live, knowing that we can fight him, even if it is just a lie. That's no time at all. How are we going to find out who he is in a month? Alice called. I don't know, I snapped, burying my head into my knees. We need Hal, Alice stated. I haven't even thought of Hal. After Eve died, he just disappeared. Alice told me that we needed our own time, but I still looked. I can't just leave this where it is. I know what I did was a surprise to everyone involved. Midnight. As of last night, my name was added to the list, and everyone knew who I was. Soon the rumors spread like wildfire. Alice and I both walked to Territory 2, where we were turned away. Olive, Alex, Maria, Viola, and even Leo wouldn't even make eye contact, leaving us alone once again. The threes were the last to discover my lie, leaving Ian in a rage as I would expect. He claims that I am the game maker, or at least I'm working with him, which isn't completely off. Everyone left me. Everyone but Alice. No. Alice, out of everyone, stood by my side, and for that I am grateful, but I'm also ashamed of it. I've dragged her down with me in this hell. The others will think she's working with the game maker as well. She's killed herself with me, whether she realizes it or not. Any idea where he is? I questioned, leaning against the rubble. The same place he always is when you can't find him, she smirked, standing from the concrete. Remember the bridge we stopped under? He's on top of it. Since I met him, he'd always go up there and think. Like a plan, before coming back in a few hours. It's not like he has anywhere to go in the first place. Should we go and get him? I questioned. I think you should. Alone. You have some explaining to do, and I don't need Hal thinking I put you up to this. But you are, I argued. Do you want a chance at winning this game or not? Let's face it, Hal is our best option right now. He knows this world better than anyone, and if what Ian said is true, then clues are easier to find than we thought. Maybe if we find all the clues, we can. We'll have a chance, Alice commanded. I'm going to see if I can get Maria to listen to me. Alice offered her hand to help me from the ground, which I gladly took. It's just us now. I never thought Alice would be on my side against the world. Then again, I doubt she ever thought this could happen either. Meet me back here in 3 hours, or else I'm not coming after you. Got it? Alice smiled almost friendly. Almost. I look forward to it. Well, Alice was right. Hal stood leaning slightly over the edge of the guardrail, against the bridge. He didn't look at me as I came close, but instead continued staring, out across the motionless highway. Are you gonna let me explain? I asked, breaking the silence. I guess I can't exactly stop you from doing so, he sighed, sitting with his back pressed against the concrete guard. I made a deal with the game maker to come back, so I could finish what I started, I stated, unable to think of the words to say. I honestly didn't think he would let me get this far. Hal motioned for me to sit down beside him, with a slow and tired gesture. I know none of us slept last night. Is that all? He questioned as if he didn't care. Aren't you even a little bit surprised by any of this? I've been here for a long time. Nothing surprises me anymore. Now, why are you here? I'm guessing since you know exactly where I was, Alice told you to come, Hal concluded. I nodded. We need you, Hal. We have to win and put away the man who did this. We have to put away the man who killed Eve. All right, go ahead, he said rather dryly. What? Take me away. Take me to whatever prison you've constructed and get your revenge, Hal stated. What are you talking about? I asked in surprise. I killed her, didn't I? It was my gunshot that ended her life, and it was me who got the points and the clue. His eyes met mine. He seemed completely dead of hope and life. Is that how I look? How? It wasn't your fault, I reassured. Then whose was it? I killed her. I don't know what you saw, but I did it. I alone am responsible, he snapped with sudden energy to his voice. This isn't your fault. None of this is anyone's fault. It's just the situation that drives us crazy, I yelled, grabbing his shirt collar. Don't you dare blame yourself. You've done nothing wrong. Got it? Hal pushed me away, freeing himself from my grip. We've all done wrong things, John. Most certainly me, he growled, his face becoming more red. When the first 5 were still around, we split into 2 groups. Ian and I on one side, and Marcus, Caitlin, and Sasha on the other. None of us had any idea of what to do or where we were. We believed that Marcus and I were copies of each other, so we avoided each other, first creating different teams and rules along with it. Ian and I became inseparable. I'll admit it, I called him my friend, but we were all we had. Guess it doesn't matter anymore, but I was the leader, not Ian. He feared me. I did not fear him, nor have I ever. One night we thought maybe the only way to get out of this world would be to kill the clone, or rather Marcus. So that's what we did. That's what I did. I was the first player to kill, and the first victim was my own brother. I couldn't believe what I just heard. Wait, you killed Marcus? I asked. Marcus, Stephanie, Luke, and Matthew, he corrected. What about Brooke? I questioned with hesitation. As far as anyone's concerned, I did. What do you mean? I inquired. Eve was going to tell Ian to protect all of us. Several months before you arrived, Brooke met with an untimely end. Now, it was no secret that I had killed several people. In fact, I believe only Olive, Leo, and you didn't know that. Though most still believe Ian killed Marcus since we're the only 2 who witnessed it. Anyway, Eve had just discovered several hidden codes within the game's system, and had tried for several weeks to crack the codes, or at least that's what I heard through rumor. At this time, I had no team at all, and rather survived on my own. But one day, Eve was apparently trying to break one of the files while Brooke was watching. A shock erupted from the system, electrocuting both girls, with a force that Eve said she had never felt anything nearly as bad before. Eve woke up, but Brooke didn't. That's where I came in. I saw her sobbing her eyes out in Territory 5. That was at the time we divided into 2 groups, mine and theirs. I told her to leave, but she didn't run like I would have expected. Instead, she remained in a puddle of her own misery, so I asked what the matter was. She explained the situation, and how their team had a no-killing law. That if it was broken, that member would suffer the same fate. I pitied her. I'll be honest, it was an in-the-moment kind of deal. I told her I'd take the blame if she would leave her team for mine. She gets to live, and I become a team again. She accepted with much hesitation, but I was no longer alone. Then Alice joined, shortly after Eve talked her into leaving the 5s. Since then, Eve owed me a life of debt. And Alice, well, I don't know exactly why she stayed, but I'm thankful for it. I don't know what I would have done without them. Hal spoke with a deep regret, evident in his voice. Eve killed Brooke, I repeated, to ensure that I was correct. We all have our sins, John, and we'll all pay for them one day. He sighed as a tear fell down his cheek. I think I finally understand why they followed you. Really? Why? Hal began. I'm a horrible person, John, but I guess all that doesn't matter in the end. I have 25 days left on this earth, before I'll come face to face with death himself. Do you have any idea what that feels like? Try a week. No, I don't, I lied. But we can find the clues and win before then, and then you won't have to die. Instead, you and I can meet. You're not exactly my type, he snickered, making me jump. How many times do I have to tell you I'm not into that? I gawked at him with a silly expression to lighten the mood. Hal snorted in a laugh. Okay, you got yourself a deal. We'll meet, right? I'll even buy you a bucket of white paint, I joked. You won't have to. I have a bucket in my house. I was supposed to paint the garage 2 years ago. The mood dropped again into the endless darkness that rested in wait to swallow us whole. Let's go. I promised Alice would be back. I pointed towards the town. Standing from the street, I offered my hand to him. I'll be there in a second. I want to get one more look at the view before I go, Hal offered. I stared out into the emptiness that almost seemed at perfect peace. The highway was scattered with abandoned cars whose owners never existed. The road seemed to stretch as far as the eyes could see, with no end in sight. It's kind of like this game in a way. Endless in sight, but logic tells you it must go somewhere. Whether that place is better or worse than the last, it still goes. Cars sit in the same way that those who have given up wait until the end, while those who still might have to walk, we have to walk against all protest. We have to walk to the end of the forever. Along the way, we may find new friends who want to walk beside us, but it's only a matter of time until they too get tired and wish to wait, but we must keep walking on. I couldn't help but smile. Slightly. Only slightly. So I guess it's time I gotta move on. I can't afford to wait any longer. I turned to Hal, who tilted over the edge. My eyes shot open wide as I jolted towards him, to prevent him from falling over the line. "How?" I screamed, catching his leg as the rest of his being hung over the edge between the bridge and the street below. I struggled to hold on to the only limb, preventing him from his doom. "What the fuck are you doing?" I snapped, struggling to keep my grip. Hal's heavier than he looks. "Let go, damn it," he yelled up at me. "No, I'm not letting you kill yourself." I only have a month left. We're not going to figure out who did it. If we haven't found it by now, it makes you think we can do it. We're all going to die, John. Just let me die in my own way, he argued, slipping down. I leaned over the rail farther in order to strengthen my grip. The concrete pushed hard against my hips as my own feet struggled to keep their footing. But I can't give in. "How? We can do it," I persuaded. "I only have a month to live. There's not enough time. And I only have a week," I cut off Hal with a breath. "In my deal, I got to come back, but I only have a week to win, so don't tell me there's not enough time." My footing changed slightly, forcing more pressure into my gut. "Hal, please don't do this. I can't lose anyone else. I need you. Please don't fall. Please, please, please." I begged as tears blurred my vision. My head cried out with pain, causing my whole body to cringe. "No, not now. I thought that was a part of my last avatar. Why is it still affecting me?" "Hal, please climb up. I can't hold you much longer," I begged as my limbs shook. I could feel both of us slipping over the edge as I fought the darkness. Hal's hand gripped my wrist as my limbs failed me. He held a tight grip against me. My vision began to tunnel as the growing weight and fading strength took their toll. My body slipped over the edge, much like he did, as my legs gave out. The rush of cold air and fear dashed through my mind, without any reaction of my limp body. I stared out across the abandoned highway, sure that this would be the last thing my eyes will ever see again. A hard grip pulled my left ankle, jolting me up, as the world took a dark and upside-down appearance. Crack. I curled my empty hands, as my vision became black.